Hi, this is Lindsay from the Awakened Press, and today we're celebrating the launch of yet another well-awaited book, Transmissions of Earth Spirit Wisdom, written by Amalia Camateros. And I have Amalia with us here today. This is the launch of her second book. She's also the author of Spirit of the Stones. So this is her second book, and it is available worldwide on Amazon, wherever books are sold. There's the paperback version and the ebook version as well. So for those of you who are watching, please visit earthspiritwisdom.com, just like the title here. And I'm really happy to have you with us here today, Amalia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I feel very honored to be here. Thank you for taking care of me so well.
Oh, well, I feel very honored as well. Amalia is a shamanic healer and a transformational teacher, and of course, author as well. This book is something that I've waited for the release for a long time as we've been working together with it, because it is a personal transformation compendium, very uniquely written. So we'll talk about that today. So Amalia, how do you feel about the release of your second book?
I feel I'm allowed to say I'm proud. I think I'm allowed to say that I feel very proud. I feel there's a sense of accomplishment to actually have all of this body of knowledge and wisdom come down in gear steps, like gearing down into the stillness, into a grounded version of all of that I can draw from and all that the universe and the earth can offer us. It's brought down into a physicalized, manifested book that people can learn from and experience. So I feel really proud and accomplished and elated, actually. I do.
That's good. Me too. I remember when you first had sent your excerpts to us, we were saying that this book is rather uniquely written because it is a compendium, as we like to describe it, of earth spirit wisdom. But how did that get downloaded to you in the first place? How did this information come together?
In different ways, and this is something that's happened to me since childhood. I'd have visitations, or I'd have um, downloads, like as if there's a spirit being, or as if there's my higher soul, actually, is what I prefer to say, because it feels so close to my heart that the soul aspect of me is very close with me in this lifetime. In other words, I haven't pushed it away or denied it. I'm dancing. I'm my soulmate is my soul. I'm mating with my soul.
This is
And so
amazing.
I would, in meditations, whether I was out in the land and all of a sudden, boom, I would see this analogy or a correlation of something blatantly there that Mother Earth is showing us, but not put in such a way that could relate to our emotional fields and our emotional healing. So that was one way where information transmissions would come through. And most things can come through that still mind. That's where we get out of the way, and brilliance is always there, but the mind has to be rested. So meditation was one way for it come through. Transmissions, or um, bolts of lightning, like bolts of
Mm,
lightning of brilliance, would wake me up in the middle of the night, and
wow.
be like, oh my God, I have to write that down. I would have to write that down. That's not just for me. That is not an egotistical thing for me to hold and utilize in my life. No, it's actually big for the planet. So that's also a way that would come through. And the third way it would come through is when I would be giving sessions to people in my
Oh,
my
wow.
and it's all of a sudden this what I would say, it would come out, and I'd say, this is brilliant. I have to write it down, because it's not as if I'm thinking it. It would come through and it would be so brilliant and apropos to that person's healing, which means for everybody's healing.
Wow.
And it would be coming, I would say it because I do have connection with the eloquence of the language. And when I would say it, the way I would say it and relate it to a very particular part of our ego psyche, or a particular part of how we can unravel the blockages in our own mind and our own bodies. I had to write it down, and I started collecting them. And so I had a file thinking, you know, after my second book as well, I know that I have to write these things down. And and then I went to a weekend writing workshop with John DeKine. I started with Tom Bird, and then I did some more with John DeKine. And they asked us to sit down, don't even think, and write for those blocks of times, and not even think. Do not think. And so I would just let it come through, stream through me without thinking. And then, of course, after that, I would take a couple of years, I guess maybe over 1 or 2 years, I would siphon through and pick out what really mattered, and left it as it was, but refined it and shined it like a diamond, and really made sure the angles of the diamond were refracting in such a way that could really shine out to people, and dazzle them with a brilliance of that wisdom that would come through, so that they can also get hit by that. And does that answer your
That's
question?
amazing. Yeah, what you said really makes sense. When you read the excerpts of the book, okay, so now it's actually split into three sections of earth, spirit, and wisdom. And each part of the book, so the earth part, the spirit part, and the wisdom part, has a certain amount of Amalia's downloads in the form of these wisdom excerpts in them, right? So when you read these words, as a reader, you're digesting that download that she received when she got that message. And so during the editing process as well, we made sure that was really pure so that you're getting that kind of pure,
Transmission.
unadulterated transmission.
My
Yeah.
transmissions of.
Yeah.
Yes.
And these are words, that have come to you in very important moments that have to do with healing, right?
Yes.
Um, Among other things. But what, in your words, would be your way of describing what this book is about? What is that the main thing that readers will learn from the book?
Well, I just allow the answers to come up in the moment, and that's the best way I can answer, rather than getting my mind connected to ego and how it's going to sound best. But the first thing that came up is really to be able to shine the light into the dark corners and areas of our psyche. That's what this
Mm.
book can do.
Right.
There's certain ways that we've configured our ways of being, and it creates a limitation and a substrate around a protective way of thinking. And this book helps to bring the light into it, to open it up, and expand the limitations, stretch the ways that we perceive certain things about ourselves, about life, about ideologies. And so I feel like it really, in truth, looking at each word as well, earth, it can ground people. This is a grounding manual in this way. Spirit is connecting. So it's connecting to your higher self and to the spirit of life and spirit of the cosmos, and earth spirit as well. And then wisdom is the centering. So it's bringing it all back into your center. So grounding, connecting, and centering. Yeah. I'd
That's
say
beautiful.
those are the three things that would really, as a healing, is what I focus on, to bring everyone, to bring the reader, the reader, or the person I'm working with, in this case it would be the reader, back into an alignment, into their central corridor, so they're not splintering out and feeling that crazy madness that happens in the brain, in the mind, but be able to have some sort of uniformity that feels like it's uniform, that we're wearing our uniform correctly in the way of our full self, the connection of our mind and our body and our heart and spirit. All that becomes an antenna of spirit. And that's what I feel could give the readers. And it's also entertaining and
Yes.
witty.
Yes.
Wherever you have the deep wisdom, you always have the ridiculous frivolity as well. I mean, there's always the polarity that happens,
Yeah.
So at the same, sometimes I'll say something deep and then one or two words to kind of, bring us back into some sort of levity.
Well, that
So
humor is so important for the wisdom of life as well. If you don't have that humor component, then it really tends not to land because if we take life too seriously, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah,
it's not going to work. But I love what you said. It's really, really beautifully put. I think that people who read this will also find that each of the excerpts, they're anywhere between 2 and maybe 4-ish pages long, so you can easily digest all of the excerpts
yes.
very nicely.
Yes, yes. And each excerpt has an activation at the end. Not that you have to
That's
do
right.
it, not of course, it's an invitation to with questions that can actually open up even further how that might apply to you in your life.
That's right. So we
Or
have,
how you could assimilate it into your life.
yeah, yeah. So we have the different sections. This is the spirit section, for example, and then this tells us what it's about. And like Amalia just said, we have an activation at the end of each of the excerpts here, which are instructions on how you can actually apply in your life what she's given to you here.
Yeah, like
Very
grounding,
well done.
grounding rods for each excerpt.
Yes. Well, I think that you've really been able to describe what Earth Spirit Wisdom really means to you as well. Now, your first book, Spirit
But
of the
I say something
Stones.
about the earth spirit wisdom just a bit more so people can understand.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
the three different sections, the earth section is really pertaining to the wisdom of the earth and how it teaches us how to integrate the teachings. And there are parts, quite a few throughout the book, of my own shamanic experiences, which makes it more personal. People love to hear about, they loved my first book because it was all a personal journey. And so I wrote some of these
Right.
personal experiences in there to bring more of a connection to the readers with who I am.
Hmm.
And so the earth section is really pertaining to the grounded matter of life, and maybe how the trees are teaching us how to stand tall and put our roots in the ground. And the deeper the roots, the grander the trunk, stronger the trunk, the grander the flowering, and expounding on that sort of thing. Or maybe telling you about my bear encounters and what they're teaching us, and this sort of thing. Spirit section is the opposite polarity. So we have earth and we have spirit. And spirit is really about our thoughts and ideologies and stretching open some of the limitations that we've had around ourselves, even, and our connection to spirit. It's not so much spiritual uh, definitions of how we normally would see it, but it's more about addressing the mental apart, the mental psyche of our being as spirit. And then wisdom section is really inviting people how to really embody the spirit and the earth into the wisdom,
Wow.
into the heart section. Yeah, into the heart. So just wanted to share that because I
I'm
think
so
that's,
glad that you explained that.
yeah,
I think it's reflected in your logo that you created too,
I
right?
did.
So each of the sections,
Earth,
so this
starting
is
from the top,
Earth,
Earth.
yeah,
Yep,
Spirit, right? And then we have your wisdom section in the middle that brings it all together.
kind of like a new yin and yang symbol for the world.
I love it. I really love it. We had to put it on the front cover because you had sketched it out and you said, Lindsay, this is what I mean. This is the visual
Yes.
symbol of
Yeah,
what this is,
thank you.
right?
Thank you. It's true.
Well, I think that when people read the excerpts, they're going to get almost like a personal healing from you in a way. At least
Mhm.
that's what I believe.
Of
Uh,
course, it's not only entertainment. Of course, it's nice to read such things, but no, it's meant to be targeting for healing. Let's hear the healing of the evolution of our evolution with Mother Earth and ourselves and our soul.
Right. I think that's what's so incredible about it because, as you being a healer, people wanting to get sessions with you, it's kind of like when Emily is not there, You might want to get a copy of this book because
That's great.
you're gonna get that personal touch without her being there until you can maybe contact her, for a
Or
session or
I
something.
do give Zoom sessions too, but no, the people like to have a book in their hands. I mean,
Right.
I think having a book in your hand, I mean, okay, on online and on Audible, of course, as society moves faster, we've got to do many things at once. But traditionally, this whole thing about authorship, I feel, is so important to have the book in your hand, is so poignant and deep and has a history of a bank of history that goes with it, with everything that goes into it, into the book is quite magical, I find.
Yeah, so absolutely. And these excerpts, they match your existing teachings in that way, right? Which is really amazing. What does it have to do with, a lot of people are probably asking this, what does it have to do with modern shamanism or shamanic teachings?
Yes.
Mhm.
Is that the question? Finish the question?
Yeah, because we have, the word shamanic on the subtitle too.
Well,
So
the reason it's called, it's very shamanic based. You know, a lot of people who read my first book insist on calling me a shaman, a shaman, a shaman, and I say, look, let's just leave that word out of it. And no, no, your book it's totally shamanic. You are shamanic. You're the real deal. And I don't. Maybe it's taken me 20 years to maybe soften into that. Like, yeah, I think they're probably right. But I
that's
don't go around calling myself a shaman, but I am very shamanic and I always have been. It really always have been. And from a child and from my soul, that's just who I am. And what do we mean by shamanic other than, not other than, rather, not other than, what we do mean, what I mean by shamanic is bringing the unconscious to the conscious,
that's beautiful. Woo!
light into the darkness, bringing the unseen into the seen,
Mm,
bringing illness into healing. So, really, the way I work, and that's why my whole business is called Earth Spirit Wisdom, and my website is earthspiritwisdom.com, is because earth is the grounded, it's the earth, it's our body. It's the root chakra. If we're looking at energy centers in the body, the root chakra. Spirit is the heavens. It's the crown chakra.
mhm.
And then wisdom is to bring the two together into the
Wow,
heart. And so that to me is very shamanic, right there, bringing the dualities into the oneness. Now, that's a modern way of saying what shamanism is. It is a
that's
modern
beautiful.
way of saying what shamanism is bringing unconsciousness into consciousness, bringing the dream time into the waking reality, bringing our thoughts into a cohesive way that we can ground it into our action. So that's a more of a shamanic way. I'm not necessarily uh, going to take the template of indigenous people and go around with feathers other than my little earring feathers because they're so beautiful.
Yes.
But you know, I don't go around with feathers and big headdresses and do that kind of shamanism. It's more about the psyche. So
Mhm.
modern shamanism for me is more about bringing our psyche, our envisionment, teaching people how to become their own inner shaman. And that's what this book really is teaching you.
That's really beautiful. It's such a concise way of putting it.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that people are right when they describe you as being the real deal. When we first met, when I tuned into you, whether or not we're gonna do the book, it was like, yes, nothing can be hidden from this woman. She's gonna see everything. Like, and it's such a beautiful thing. I mean, don't we all want to be seen, right?
Yes, we really do. Yeah.
So
And
it's really
also,
great.
the wisdom part of this book is teaching people how to emotionally integrate
Mm,
parts of their denials, parts of their traumas, not telling you what to do, but suggesting in a small excerpt piece. So it's not going to take the whole book on one subject. There's many different subjects in this book. You
mhm.
can literally open it up anywhere, like a divination book, and read it. You don't have to go from the beginning. You could open it up and get a medicine tablet. It's like
Wow,
absolutely a medicine tablet for that time that you need.
that's
Almost like
beautiful.
divination cards in a book.
I love that. That's such a beautiful way of describing it, taking each excerpt as medicine. It's true
Yeah.
when you really digest
Not,
the
not
words.
medication, but a real medicine pill.
Yes.
Not
Well,
pill, but a medicine.
yeah, I love that way that you described it. Now, what's your favorite excerpt out of all the sections? We have the earth section, the spirit, and the wisdom
I'm
section.
really attracted to the seesaw effect.
Oh, interesting.
I,
Okay.
I, I feel like that really embodies the whole book. You know, that whole thing where I experienced the seesaw experience the as a child, and
Mm,
I had an enlightening moment as a child. I was introduced to the light very strongly by in my experience on the seesaw and when I was playing on there, trying to find a way how to sit on one end or the other, and how am I going to play on this? And my brilliance, one of those brilliance comes in and says, stand in the middle, excuse me, stand in the middle and balance, play with it that way. And then what I found in that is a lot of different um, uh, teachings in how to keep focused and how to keep balanced. And all of my teachings of life basically could have come from that seesaw experience in the past
wow.
alone when I was probably around 7 or 8. So I think that's the fulcrum. And I was standing on the fulcrum of the seesaw,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah. I like
move.
that one too. There's a lot of favorites that I have in here. And even the
Yeah.
computer seems to like your stuff because it keeps giving me a thumbs up on the screen. So yeah, I
Oh,
don't know
look,
how it's doing that.
I've
So
got two as well. That's great.
yes.
So we don't mind if those thumbs come up. It's the spirit is going, hey, yes.
Yes.
Oh, that was brilliant. That's
Giving
brilliant.
us a confirmation.
That was so
No,
much
that was good. That the seesaw effect is a really interesting excerpt because it is different from your first book, where
fun.
your first
Yeah,
book, like you said, is more of a memoir, right? It's a memoir, it's taking you through people's journeys. But the second book, this is more of Earth Spirit Wisdom, is your teachings
teachings,
in
yes.
one. These are your teachings.
Yes, these are my teachings.
Um, yeah.
In
And
the way that's not um, my own teachings, it's the way I would express those teachings.
oh, that's a beautiful distinction. You know, but the seesaw effect, as you were describing, has a little bit of your story in it. So sometimes in the excerpts, like your bear encounters story section, also has a little bit of your story in it, right? And so you bring that into some of the excerpts as examples to illustrate exactly,
Absolutely.
what you're talking about, which is
A lot
really
of weaving. There's a lot of weaving in this book, for sure.
I would agree. I would agree. I'm laughing because the editing process was, we had to make sure that it was really complicated. We had to make sure the weaving was there and stayed intact. Um, but so as we bring things full circle here, what do you hope that your readers will take away from Earth Spirit Wisdom, this book, once they are done reading it?
I would love that this book is an invitation to connect with your authentic self, that not that you have to not taking for face value what other people or what the medical field or the political field or the financial field is telling you what to do, but to really come into your alignment, have it grounded like a rod, be connected to the earth as solidly to a stable, secure power point such as the earth, and be like an antenna so that you can actually connect to the highest realms of your being. Excuse me. I don't know why my voice is doing this. I'm going to have another bit of water. Excuse me.
No problem. But yes, I understand. Yes. Mhm.
I don't mind being a little scratchy in my throat right now.
That's
Anyways,
okay.
as I was saying, to become a grounding rod for the cosmos, for the light. Let's be the conduit where that light from the higher realms can be siphoned, can be channeled in through our bodies to connect to the earth. The earth right now needs our help.
Hmm.
We are the earth too. We need to help ourselves. the government and the medical field and the financial field and the education field is not going to help us. They're steering us into places away from our power points in ourselves.
Very
So
true.
this book, I hope for all of you to lighten up your mind, in other words, not enlightenment, but enlighten up your mind with the brilliance that's there, because it always is. We are brilliant. We are biocomputers. That's another one of my favorite excerpts. Remember
Yes.
the biocomputer. And to be able to stand in our truth and feel the embodiment of the totality of who we are, the potential of who we are, so that we're not fragmented and feeling singulated and alone. We are connected to the greater weave, the greater web of life. And the indigenous tribes, they were very aware of that web of life. So, we are one of the strands of the web of life, and we are
Wow.
part of the earth in this way. And so I think it's important that we stand at the center points of each web and light up our light and become a grid of power, a grid of new earth light. And so,
Mm.
it might sound quite high in frequency what I'm saying, but it's also very grounded in this book for you to really gear shift down into your being, so that you're not electrifying and electrocuting yourself up here and not,
Yeah.
but grounding in your body and grounding with the earth, who you are and what you're here for. And what you're here for might not be to be an artist or an author or a teacher or a CEO or anything outside of yourself. What you've come here to be more so is about what you stand for this lifetime. Stand for your truth, speak up your truth, be who you are no matter what. These are some of the main totem poles within us that we have to really anchor now.
I couldn't have said it more beautifully myself. I think that sounds amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Is there anything that you wanted to share with anyone who's made it this far with us? Um, if there's anything that you either really liked or didn't really like about the book creation process, anything you
Oh,
wanted to share
I
with that?
loved every part of it. I love working with you. I think you're an amazing. Awakened Press is impeccable, full of light and joy, and I love that you were connected also to your guide that would tell you, no, Amalia needs to have this. And I love that your spiritual connection was strong, and it really, really helped me along the way. It really did.
Oh,
And
thanks,
I
Emily.
love I love the process. I'm feeling sad that it's done.
Thanks, Amalia.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. We love working with you. And, some people, they really don't like the editing process, or some people really
Not
like the
me.
cover, but I think you were into it with us the whole time. So
Totally,
it's really
totally.
great.
Yeah, I'm a wordsmith. I definitely am a wordsmith. And so
Yes. Yes. Well,
and
that
so
sounds great.
yeah,
Eh,
thank you, Lindsay. And
Oh, thank you too.
I'm happy for people to connect with me at earthspiritwisdom.com.
Mhm.
I have free 15-minute consultations there if you're intrigued or want to open up a dialogue or want some coaching with me, so we can go down for a few months and really ream out and clean out and lighten up the load. Then please call me for the coaching and we can have a chat, or anything else you want to ask about. Come to my website. There's some free 15-minute consultation calls there that you can book into, and I would love to be of service.
I think that anyone who's watching this who sees Amalia on the screen here should definitely go to her website and book a consultation while she has room and space to accommodate, because, she really is, we've described it a couple of times, she really is the real deal. She will help you see your shadows in order to bring them to light for healing. So just, and being in a session myself with Amalia as well, in a bodywork session. It was really powerful. I brought up a lot of things that healed. So I definitely recommend that as well. And of course, this book goes along with all of that. So you're going to get all of her teachings in here. It's kind of like almost like a cheat sheet, I want to say, for integrating yourself, as Amalia was saying. So if there's anything else, is there a message you wanted to share with us as we close or any other last minute thing?
I like that you said cheat sheet because that cheat sheet because that's one polarity, and the other polarity is a compendium of wisdom because we talked about the opposites always. So
I love
we've
that.
got the long
Yes.
haul of wisdom that comes in, and we've got the quick assimilation on this end. So I like
Mm. Yeah, and you're just reminding me, one of the things about Amalia's teachings here, which is included in the book, is that balance, right? So we talked today about wisdom, bringing the wisdom section of the book, or the heart center, bringing everything together. Not too high, not too low, not too left, not too right, right? So coming into the center of your being, you're going to get that. You're going to be able to very in a witty way, but a very clear and powerful way, digest that teaching, which is one of your main teachings,
yes.
um, in this book. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Awakened Press, and thank you everybody in the future for pre forwarding my thank you for attaining that book, buying my book, and reading it, and using it, and becoming more of yourself.
Awesome. Okay, well, you heard it from the author herself. And in the post for this, you're also going to get the links that we mentioned in this video about where to go, where you can purchase the book, but also visit Amalia's website at earthspiritwisdom.com. It matches the title, or you can book that free 15-minute consultation with her. And in terms of the book, you can find it in ebook or paperback format. Right now, there might be other formats coming soon. You can get it anywhere books are sold. You can order it through your local bookstore. You can go on Amazon. You can even check the Barnes and Noble. And you can also contact the Awakened Press and go to theawakenedpress.com for bulk discounts and wholesale orders. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Many blessings.